here's your host of Living the Country Life, Betsy Freeze.
Clean drinking water is a must. If you live on an acreage, you need to take special care to make sure your drinking water is clean. Today we have Jamie Ridgely with Agron Incorporated. Jamie, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Betsy.
Now, I know that your company has some materials you've put together for homeowners that are new to the country. Tell me about your program.
Okay. The program that I work with is called Farm Assist, and Farm Assist actually stands for Farmstead Assessment System.
All right.
And together with Iowa Farm Bureau, Agron has brought the Farm Assist program from the national model into the state of Iowa.
Okay.
But it is available in all 50 states in the nation.
All right.
And the purpose of our program is to give acreage owners and farmers an easy-to-use confidential tool to assess pollution risks on their farmstead and ensure that their drinking water is safe.
Tell me some of the places where I should be looking at on my property.
Okay. Well, there's several things, Betsy. Our program actually covers 12 different areas. Everything from the water well, of course, very important to protect your water well.
Right.
Septic systems, any manure storage or feedlot situations that you'd have, fertilizer storage, petroleum, pesticide storage, those types of things.
Okay. You mentioned the septic system.
Yes.
What problems can you encounter with septic tanks?
Well, when we think of wastewater management on the farmstead, typically we think of the septic system.
Right.
And septic system is very important. It's actually the primary treatment. And so it's important that for a functioning wastewater treatment system that you have both that primary treatment, the septic system to settle out the solids.
The tank.
The tank, exactly.
And the lateral
And then
fields.
also the lateral fields to treat the wastewater.
And how often do I need to pump the tank?
Pumping is very important. We recommend that occurs every 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
If you're not pumping your septic system, you do have a problem. It's actually definitely a water quality hazard because probably your tank's outletting maybe to a ditch or a tile line.
Now, you mentioned the well. We
Yes.
have an old well on our property.
Okay.
If we want to take a look
Sure.
at that.
Sure.
And I know sometimes you come to a property and there's even an abandoned well. What do you do in that case?
Okay. Well, abandoned wells are something that are very important to water quality on the farmstead because, as you know, a well actually is a direct conduit to our groundwater.
Right.
And so it's very important to protect the well, and that's why we actually do an assessment of wells. And so any abandoned wells really should be properly closed with a watertight material. Usually either bentonite or neat cement is used.
Okay.
And your local environmental health department can help you with that and probably even provide some cost share to get those abandoned wells closed.
Now, our well is old, but it still works great.
Okay.
But what would you, assess about this well itself?
Okay.
Are there some safety?
Sure, definitely.
Problems?
The first thing that we look at when we look at a well is try to get an idea of the type of well and the age of the well. You mentioned that it was old. It does look like it's a wider diameter, probably a 4-foot diameter dug well.
Right.
That's important to recognize because typically those older wells, we've got a brick casing in this well you can see, and those are more susceptible to contamination than your newer drilled narrower diameter wells.
Right. So you're trying to make sure that the surface water can't just flow right into the well?
Right. We want to look at two things, both surface water and groundwater. Surface water is important because we, like you said, don't want it just flowing into the well. That could bring in contaminated water from the farmstead. So we want to make sure that the well is located in an area of the property that's not real low lying.
Okay.
And if you look around your farmstead here, you do have a fairly, it's in a high location on the farmstead, so we shouldn't have a flooding problem here at all.
What other things do you need to be aware of? I know we do have a lid on this well. It's not fastened down, but
Okay.
it's heavy.
Yes, and this is very typical of your wider diameter wells that they would have this concrete lid. We did try to move it earlier, and so I know that it fits tightly. I don't see any cracks, and it did seal up fairly tightly around
Right.
here. But the concern, of course, is that any sort of rodents could get in, bugs could get in.
We do have livestock. Is that a problem around the well?
Well, separation distances are very important, both from a livestock perspective because of livestock manure, as well as wastewater, the septic system that we talked about,
Yeah.
fertilizer, pesticide storage or application. All of those things are important activities to be aware of that you're not, those aren't happening around the well. And so the actual distance varies depending on the contaminant source, but typically it's between 50 and 100 feet, and you want to make sure that those things are happening a distance away from the well.
How often do I need to test my water?
Testing your water is very important. We recommend that that's done annually.
All right.
Late spring is the most important time because the water table is the highest at that time, and so you're going to have the greatest potential for showing some signs of contamination at that point.
What am I looking for?
You're typically going to test for two things: nitrate contamination and also coliform bacteria. And that bacteria is an indicator of other contaminants that might be in the well. And so you're really looking at whether or not there's a problem with contaminants entering either through your distribution or maybe any water treatment system that you would have, and then also the integrity of the well itself.
Thank you for that useful information, Jamie.
Thank you.